Spiritual awakening isn't just about becoming calm or wise. It's a total shift in your emotional priorities, especially in relationships. You no longer chase people for love, attention, or approval. You realize the people you once begged to stay weren't aligned with your highest path, and that changes everything. If you're going through a spiritual awakening right now, or even sensing that something deep inside you is evolving, then you'll notice this one powerful thing. You're no longer desperate to be seen, chosen, or validated by others. You've stopped chasing, not because you don't care anymore, but because you care about yourself more. This change can feel strange. Some people around you might say you've become distant, cold, or detached. But the truth is, you've just stopped begging for crumbs of connection. You've stopped performing for people who never really saw you. You're waking up to your worth, and with that comes the quiet power of letting go. You used to think your value depended on who accepted you. Now you know your value has nothing to do with external validation. That shift right there, that's spiritual awakening in action. And it transforms not only your relationships with others, but most importantly, your relationship with yourself. Let's talk about how and why this happens, what it really means to stop chasing people, and how this transformation empowers you to attract what truly matches your higher self. When you awaken spiritually, something fascinating happens. You stop seeing people as puzzles you need to solve. You stop trying to earn love like it's a prize you have to chase. Why? Because you start seeing where those patterns came from. You weren't chasing people, you were chasing healing. From your childhood, from rejection, from being unseen for far too long. That friend you kept messaging even when they ignored you. That relationship where you gave too much, hoping they'd finally see your worth. That group of people you kept trying to impress. Those weren't random actions. They were your wounds acting out. You were hoping someone else would fix what they didn't even break. But as you spiritually grow, you see the truth. You can't find peace from the same kind of energy that broke you. You stop chasing not because you've become bitter, but because you've become aware. That's what spiritual awakening does. It upgrades your inner software. It shows you all the old programs running in the background of your life. And when you recognize those patterns, you no longer need to replay them. You no longer mistake rejection for romance. You no longer confuse anxiety with connection. You look at someone pulling away, and instead of trying to grab tighter, you loosen your grip. You choose peace over proving yourself. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. It's like finally realizing you were trying to win a race that nobody else was running. And once you know that, you walk away. Not out of defeat, but out of dignity. That's the power of spiritual awakening. It doesn't just teach you to stop chasing people. It teaches you to stop abandoning yourself. Here's the twist no one tells you. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. Think about it. Chasing energy is desperate. It says, I need you to complete me. But awakened energy says, I am whole already. And that kind of energy, it pulls in people, experiences, and opportunities that actually align with your higher self. You don't have to send 10 follow-up messages to someone who's lukewarm about you. You don't have to keep trying to impress someone who barely notices your effort. You don't have to beg to be included in conversations that make you feel invisible. Instead, you become magnetic. Why? Because you've shifted from needing to convincing. Spiritual awakening changes your inner frequency. You stop seeking attention and start radiating presence. You don't walk into a room wondering who's going to like you. You walk in knowing who you are. That quiet confidence, that calm self-assurance. It's rare, and rare energy attracts quality people. Suddenly, people start noticing you, but this time for the right reasons. They see the glow that comes from peace. They feel the calm that comes from self-respect. And without even trying, you begin to draw in people who see you, not as a project, but as a person. People who don't need convincing to care. That's not luck. That's alignment. You no longer need to beg for space in someone else's life when you're already creating space for yourself. And that's the real beauty of awakening. You stop chasing, and the right things start finding you. The moment you start growing spiritually, one-sided relationships feel exhausting. You notice how many of your connections were actually built on imbalance. You were the one texting first, calling first, checking in, being emotionally available for people who gave you the bare minimum in return. But now, you're done. Not out of anger, but because you're finally awake. You see that love shouldn't feel like a full-time job with no benefits. You don't want to earn your place in someone's life. You want to belong naturally. It's like waking up from a trance. You look back and think, how was I okay doing all the work in those relationships? You realize you were the entire foundation. And the moment you stopped trying, the whole thing collapsed. That's not failure. That's clarity. And here's where a little humor kicks in. You used to think being low maintenance meant being low priority. You'd make excuses for why they never responded on time. Oh, they're just busy. Or maybe they didn't see the message. No, they saw it. They just didn't prioritize you. And now you finally do. Spiritual awakening sharpens your standards. You want reciprocity, not resistance. You want mutual energy, not emotional gymnastics. And once you get a taste of real balanced connection, you lose the appetite for one-sided nonsense. Your inner peace becomes more valuable than any flaky friendship or breadcrumb romance. It's not that you're too much. It's that you've been giving too much to people who are giving too little. That stops now. And the more you grow, the more allergic you become to anything that costs your peace. There's a turning point during spiritual awakening where solitude becomes sacred. You no longer fear being alone. In fact, you start craving it, not out of sadness, but because being alone no longer feels like punishment. It feels like protection, like peace, like power. When you're not awakened, loneliness is scary. It makes you chase connection, even if it's toxic, shallow, or fake. But once you awaken, you see alone time as a gift. You're not bored, you're building. You're not isolated, you're incubating your next level. You discover things about yourself that you never had space to see before. Your thoughts, your values, your passions, they become clearer. You sit with yourself, and instead of running, you listen. You reconnect with parts of yourself you lost while chasing everyone else. And the irony? Once you become content being alone, you stop settling for people who make you feel lonely in their presence. You stop sharing your energy just because you're afraid of silence. You stop filling the space with noise that drains you. You laugh more alone. You heal faster alone. You grow deeper alone. And soon you realize being alone isn't empty. It's full of insight, full of strength, full of potential. You're not avoiding people. You're attracting better ones by first being whole on your own. And let's be honest, your energy is way too expensive to keep wasting it on people who don't even know its value. Once you awaken, your energy becomes your most prized possession. You don't give it away so easily anymore. You stop oversharing. You stop over-explaining. You stop over-giving. Why? Because you finally understand that not everyone deserves access to your soul. It's like realizing your phone only has so much battery, and you stop opening every app that drains it. Your time becomes sacred. Your boundaries get sharper. Your tolerance for emotional vampires drops to zero. You start asking real questions before you get close to someone. Do they bring peace or chaos? Do they add value or drain it? Do they support your growth or stunt it? If the answers are unclear, your distance becomes very clear. And here's where the transformation kicks in. The more you protect your energy, the more you attract people who respect it. People who don't take advantage of your kindness. People who match your frequency instead of messing with it. You stop attending arguments you weren't invited to. You stop picking up emotional calls from people who only contact you when they're in crisis. You stop allowing people to rent space in your head for free. That's what spiritual growth does. It makes you wise with your energy. And when people ask, "Why are you so selective now?" you smile and say, "Because peace is expensive, and I'm no longer cheap." If this message found you at the right time, then you already know. You've outgrown chasing people. You're stepping into your power, into peace, into the kind of energy that no longer begs to be chosen. Because you've finally chosen yourself. You've done enough people-pleasing. You've exhausted the old version of you that needed outside approval to feel whole. But now, you're done outsourcing your worth. You've remembered who you are. You're building from the inside out. And yes, some people will say you've changed. And they're right. You've changed. You're no longer available for disrespect. You're no longer answering the calls of your old wounds. You're walking in a new kind of light, and not everyone can follow you there. And that's okay. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, I want you to know, I see you. I appreciate you. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey. If this video spoke to something inside you, if it made you feel less alone or more understood, I'd love for you to like it and subscribe. Not just because it helps the channel grow, but because it tells me this message mattered. You're not here by accident. Your growth is real. And your peace? It's non-negotiable now. I'll see you in the next video.